Well, at the box office, Little Women finished Sunday with a domestic total of $60 million.
Matt Perrin shares his thoughts on the film in your Monday Movie Musings.
Welcome to another Monday. The first new wide release of 2020 came out this weekend, and I had absolutely no interest in seeing a remake of The Grudge, which in itself was a remake. So with award season upon us, I recently have taken in several movies that are possible Best Picture contenders. I recently saw both Uncut Gems and Little Women. I know that everyone is interested in Uncut Gems, but I have to hedge my bets here and go with the one that I think will definitely be a Best Picture contender. So without any further ado, here's my take on Little Women, and I'll throw in a little Uncut Gems at the end. Our film surrounds the four March sisters, Meg, Amy, Beth, and Jo, played by Emma Watson, Florence Pugh, Eliza Scanlon, and Saoirse Ronan, respectively. While their father is off fighting in the Civil War, they live with their mother, Marmee, played by Laura Dern. Meg excels at acting. Amy is an aspiring artist. Beth has a gift for music, and Jo is a writer. The four are pretty much inseparable and soon become friends with their neighbor Laurie, played by Timothée Chalamet. As time passes, their rich Aunt March, played by Meryl Streep, tries to convince each that they need to marry well, but of the four, she sees the most hope in Amy. As a result, she takes her to Paris to become a better artist and find a rich husband. At the same time, we see Meg marry a humble man, and Jo runs off to New York to write. We see the movie jump back and forth through time, showing the current lives of each of the March girls, then flashing back to the events that led them to where they are now. We see Amy's adventures in Paris, which end up intertwining with Laurie as he is also traveling abroad. We see Jo starting to sell stories, but having to compromise her writing to do so. Through flashback, we also see the reason she headed there in the first place. As the movie progresses, we see all of the sisters at one time or another having to return home. We see their inner turmoil that each of them have to face, with some being able to express it more than others. Of the March girls, we see that Jo is facing the most conflict. She has battles upon battles, and although set in the mid-19th century, many of the issues would seem right at home today. We as the audience, whether we have read the book and seen the previous versions or not, wait to see how this is going to turn out and what twists will be put upon this classic tale. So, what to say about this one? First off, much like A Star is Born last year, this is a movie that has been done several different times, and of course it's based on a famous novel. For the most part, it's getting rave reviews, but there are some whose love for the previous versions caused them to dislike this one. That's why I'm glad I went in with a clean slate, having seen none of the previous versions or having read the book. As a result, I really enjoyed the movie. Normally this wouldn't be something I was interested in, but the cast absolutely nails it. To be fair, half the reason I'm doing this review is to pronounce Saoirse Ronan's name correctly, since in both my Brooklyn and Lady Bird reviews I called her Saoirse. My apologies. But she is absolutely as fantastic as always in this. All the sisters do great, and even though he looks a little young, Timothée Chalamet pulls off his great as always performance. And who can forget Meryl Streep? She absolutely kills it for the 7 minutes she's on screen. Director Greta Gerwig takes a more modern approach to this version with an almost choose-your-own ending conclusion, and she really made this version come alive. Usually Saoirse Ronan and Timothée Chalamet are only seen in Oscar-nominated films. Throw in Meryl Streep, and I'm sure we'll be discussing it again in about a month. As far as Uncut Gems goes, Adam Sandler has actually nailed a role for the most part. The story is great, but I would stay away if you're an anxious person because the film is riddled with anxiety, almost making it hard to watch. But definitely one of the greats of 2019, and if it gets nominated, I'll do a full review on it shortly. This has been your Monday Movie Music. Back to you.
Well, all right, Matt. And again, we're going to be checking back with you in just a little bit for that last forecast.
That's right. ABC Columbia's News at Noon continues in just a few moments.